Here we go!
Welcome to the Nintendo PowerZone. We are a bi-weekly podcast dedicated to bringing you the best Nintendo-related topics, and I'm your host, Nice One. Joining me today is my co-host, Blues. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. We don't have much in the way of news. We are in that slower before E3 section. We do have some nice, fun topics that I'm really excited about today. All right?
Yeah, man, me too. Guys, the topic today is going to be one that's going to allow our imaginations to run wild. So, in 2015, former president of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata, announced a unique partnership with Universal Studios to bring immersive experiences featuring characters and games from Nintendo's library. In December of 2016, we saw our first piece of concept art for the park. In 2017, we got our first trailer for the park and a groundbreaking ceremony for the Japanese park. And a few days ago, an Orlando news outlet announced that Pokemon would also be coming to Universal Studios Florida, thus adding to an already amazing Nintendo theme. In today's episode, we're going to go over all the details we know, as well as speculate as what we think could come to the park. But first, we're going to go ahead and slide into the Powered Up News. Our first news story, new mythical Pokemon Zeraora was revealed for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and he also debuted in a trailer for the new Pokemon movie, which is called Everyone's Story. This is the first official showcasing of the Pokemon. I know it had been revealed, via that massive leak that happened, I think, pretty early. I think when they released that demo, they found all the character sprites in the game, and they found Zeraora.
It was released on an Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon launch, yes.
Yeah, it was in that demo leak. I think this is one of the coolest looking mythical designs. This one actually looks like a competent mythical. Like Mew and Jirachi and all the other mythicals, they always kind of look a little cutesy. This one actually looks like it's like competent, and it looks badass. It's an electric cat, and I think it looks sick. And I was like, in my mind, I'm just like putting him together with like, a Pikachu or an Alolan Raichu to have like this awesome like electric tag team. I know you can't use them competitively, but still, I think it's a really cool design. They showing him off in the trailer was also pretty cool as well, even though they kind of he just briefly cameos in that Everyone's Story trailer. But I really like the animation in that trailer for that new film. It's got like this very Studio Ghibli quality, but when Ghibli is good, not like how the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime is currently looking like. It's a little bit better than that. So if like Pokemon Alola, the Alola seasons are like bad Studio Ghibli, then this movie is like good Studio Ghibli. Not great Studio Ghibli, but good Studio Ghibli. Any thoughts on these?
I'm not a fan of his design. Zeraora's design, it's okay. It's one of those. I don't know. There's a right way to make bipedal-ish Pokemon, and there's a wrong way. And I feel like he just looks a bit too lanky for me. I understand he's got a bit of like punching moves he's supposed to do. So he's like kind of a pseudo fighting type, but not really, which I guess makes sense. But I'm not too big of a fan of his design.
It's like the way his feet arch is a little like it's like when a dog stands upright versus being
like
a
Lucario has that. But like Lucario has that, and Lucario doesn't look too bad though.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I'm not a fit. His design's okay. I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it. It just looks a little bit weird to me.
Depending on how they're going to use him in this story for this new Pokemon movie, I hope it's better than what they did with Marshadow. Marshadow's like motives are so confusing in the last Pokemon movie. It's almost like he's supposed to be the good guy, but he comes across as like bad,
almost like Absol. But
no, because Absol they've never shown an Absol to like intentionally cause like havoc.
His lore in the Pokedex is that he's mistaken to cause havoc.
Yeah,
he doesn't actually do it. He's just associated with causing havoc.
He's kind of like the harbinger. He shows up and bad stuff happens. Mm-hmm. Whereas in like where Marshadow in the last movie like directly causes Ash to die.
Yeah.
Like he physically kind of kills Ash, and like
Alright.
it's kind of glossed over because you kind of forget that he kills Ash because they make Pikachu talk. Like, Pikachu says one sentence and then everybody just completely forgets that Ash was killed by a Pokemon essentially.
Because Pikachu is speaking English, yeah.
Yeah, like for some reason that took precedence over the fact that a Pokemon committed murder.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
So-
like if they use Zorora in a good way, like if he makes sense story wise, and then I could see a lot of people want to get this one. They still haven't released when they're gonna release him or how.
Mhm.
Obviously, he's gonna be tied to a theatrical release in Japan. They always are.
Yeah.
How we get him here in the West,
we don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping not a theatrical run because I mean that last theatrical run was extraordinarily limited. I think you had like a total of like 6 days to see that movie, and they were non-consecutive days. So it was like you had 2 weekends, and they had like 3 showings those 2 weekends. Very difficult way to watch a movie.
We should move on now, right?
Oh yeah. So someone found a trademark that was filed by Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo. All 3 of them own an equal stake in Pokemon, and the trademark was for a term that directly translates to Ultra Shinies. There's no other information on what an Ultra Shiny is, so best we can do here is just speculate. This does exist. This is an official copyright. That's why we're speaking on it. But my own thing is that I'm going to assume that Gen 8 continues the trend with Ultra Beasts, and from there we just have to assume that they're, I don't know, shiny Ultra Beasts that are more easily obtainable. No idea what an Ultra Shiny is. Doesn't even make sense. We don't even know if this is an actual copyright specific to Gen 8. This could be for something in the mobile spectrum. They have been releasing quite a few mobile games, so it might be something that's locked to that. I have no idea what this is, no idea what this means, but I mean, it's just weird that it takes like an element from Ultra Beast and an element of shiny Pokemon and combines them into 2 words, 2 words into one.
Yeah, so in this, I'm hoping starts to prove my theory from last episode, where the new region, quote unquote region, will be in the Ultra Dimension. And so maybe instead of shiny Pokemon that you would normally catch when you're in the regions that you're in the Ultra Dimension, you catch Ultra Shinies when you catch a shiny Pokemon. Like, it's further proving my theory from last episode. If you've not seen our last sort of Pokemon speculation episode, I do say check that out. Wherever you're listening, it's probably the previous one in the queue.
There's not a whole lot to say here, so I think we're just going to move on to something a little bit more tangible. So the next story up is Yokai Watch 4 was announced for the Nintendo Switch. We talked about this a little bit a couple episodes ago, that Level 5 would be moving all of their core titles to the Nintendo Switch, which we assumed would include late-in games and obviously Yokai Watch. And they officially announced Yokai Watch 4 for the Nintendo Switch. We are still awaiting an announcement for Yokai Watch 3 for the Nintendo 3DS here in the US. But it's nice to know that Yokai Watch will be moving on. We're always going to be a generation behind here in America and in other Western territories. I have just become accustomed to that, and it's okay. So we'll probably see Yokai Watch 3 for the Nintendo 3DS announced probably at E3 or before E3. I mean, they've been releasing them, showcasing them at E3 for the last couple of years, so I wouldn't be surprised if Yokai Watch 3 shows up at E3. And Yokai Watch 4 will come out probably in a couple of years here when they decide they're ready to localize it and whenever they've capitalized on the 3rd generation of those games. It's unfortunate, though, because the Yokai Watch games haven't really taken off here in the West like they have in Japan. So, I mean, I think what's more important here is the fact that, Level 5 is actually, doing what they said they were going to do, take all their core titles and move them to the Switch. So I don't think we'll be too far away from like a Professor Layton game getting announced for the Switch. And once they announce that, I'm going to be stoked.
Yeah, definitely a huge level 5 fan. I believe we mentioned also that Snack World was already confirmed to be getting the Switch port. And while it's not like a major long running series, it has been doing very well for them in Japan, as well as the anime for it's been doing really well. It's kind of Fantasy Life-ish, which is a series that I absolutely loved. Game. There is a sequel, I guess. It's on the phone, but for Japan only, unfortunately. But I am like a big Layton fan. Not big Yokai Watch fan. I'm a Yokai Watch fan. And level 5 in general. So I really am glad to see this transition as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important that they announced a game shortly after they announced the fact that they were going to bring all of their core titles to the Nintendo Switch. It's a little weird that it was a Yokai Watch game that got announced because globally like I said, Yokai Watch doesn't really move the needle globally. Like, would have been bigger news for them to have said like a Layton game was going to be, coming out, because those games are pretty critically acclaimed globally, and it would have been better news for me at least. But hey, I'm excited to see level 5 making the transition to the Nintendo Switch. It was only a matter of time. I'm actually surprised that they didn't have anything queued up for that launch year, but yeah, it is what it is. Maybe they didn't get a development kit. I know Nintendo was really slow to give out development kits for the Nintendo Switch.
I believe so, yes. For level 5, once again, like, it is kind of weird. As much as I want Yokai Watch to be a bit more broadly accepted, I guess. Like, Layton, it's not a system seller or anything, but it does well enough and is recognizable enough all around the world to be like a fairly safe announcement. Whereas Yokai Watch, once again, as much as I would like it to be, isn't. And I feel like maybe since it's only for Japan announcement, we're still waiting on 3 to be announced here in the US. So I feel like it's because it's Japan only, it might be Yokai Watch is stronger in Asia in terms of Layton.
Yeah, most definitely. But all right, I mean, that's pretty much it for that. And so I think we just move on to our last news topic, which is one that I'm really excited about. So it turns out that the SNES Classic and the NES Classic have spawned a wave of pretenders, maybe sparking. Let's call it what it is. There is a retro console war about to happen. Both Sega and SNK have announced classic mini systems. Sega is going to be releasing the Sega Mega Drive Mini, which it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a miniature Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis, literally about the same size as a Super NES Classic, and I'm excited about this news. I think the Genesis, out of all of Sega's consoles, has a pretty decent back library. Now, what would be really cool, really cool, is if they took it a step further. If they made this system compatible with Sega CD games and Sega 32X games. I know, there's not a whole lot of games for those attachment consoles, but there are a few standout games that they could release for those. So obviously Sonic CD would be a prime, Sega CD game to put on this Sega Mega Drive Mini. And so would a little game called Snatchers, which is like Hideo Kojima, like before Metal Gear Solid. This is like the groundworks game that he built up. It's actually Mario After Party's favorite game of all time, pretty much. Like, he won't stop talking about how much he loves that game. And obviously for the 32X, you have like Knuckles Chaotix, which is a Sonic spin-off game developed by the Sega Technical Institute here in America. So this is a completely US designed Sonic the Hedgehog spin-off game featuring Knuckles. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but there's a lot of people who do like it. And I think they would be clamoring to have a decent emulation of this game, because pretty much it's a really hard game to emulate. So I think the potential behind a Mega Drive Mini is really high because, like I said, the Genesis has a great back catalog, but if you make it compatible with like those add-on consoles, you could make this an SNES killer, mini killer. But not to be one-upped, SNK announces a Neo Geo Classic. Now, they didn't show off the console itself, but in the promotional art for it, there is a tarp covering what looks to be a miniature arcade cabinet, which would make this the first classic, style system to have its own display. If that's true, I don't know if you know what a bar top arcade cabinet looks like, but it's like a miniature arcade cabinet that would rest on a bar top. It has like that kind of design to it, but we can't see it, so I don't know what it necessarily looks like. But it looks like an arcade cabinet under this tarp, and if that's the case, I want it. I want it bad. And obviously, we know that SNK has been killing it on the Nintendo Switch eShop. They have been releasing so many games, so they have a back catalog to exploit, and they've been doing it on the Nintendo Switch. But there's got to be something to be said about having your own physical SNK machine in your home. So there's a lot of awesome stuff. So obviously we're gonna see. I would assume we see games like Samurai Showdown on a Neo Geo Classic. Oh my God, there's just so much stuff. Oh wait, there's one more thing that can make the Mega Drive Mini super badass. Put Sonic Mania on that as like a bonus game. That's a win. That's a win. If they could take Sonic Mania, put it on the Mega Drive Mini, that would be legit. It would be akin to like Star Fox 2 being on the Super NES Classic Edition. But yeah, man, Nintendo has competition in the classic system market as of now with a Mega Drive Mini and a Neo Geo Classic. Will Nintendo, manage to stay on top as far as these classic systems are concerned? I guess we'll find out pretty much right after E3. For the NES Classic Edition and the Super NES Classic Edition, those were announced just outside of E3. So if there's going to be a Game Boy Classic Edition or an N64 Classic Edition, we're not going to know for a little while. We're going to have to find out in around July-ish, I would say. Anyway, I think that's it for all the major news stories. Like I said, we had a softball news week. I'm surprised we talked about news this much because, yeah, man, we're in that media lockout right before E3. It started earlier this year than it typically starts for Nintendo. But next week is a Nintendo investors meeting, so inevitably something will come out of that. So we may find out some E3 plans. That's going to be on the 26th. I might stay up real late and do like a live reaction to some of the news that comes out from this, or I might not. I don't know yet. It's Japanese time they're 14 hours ahead of us, so by the time they have this investors meeting, it might be pretty late. Anyway,
I would probably say you shouldn't, out of my better judgment. I want the content. I want you to cover the content, but it's one of those things where there's not going to be too much coming out, even though there is probably going to be news, as we've been saying. There's not going to be a whole lot. We still are in E3 lockout. So there's not gonna be anything I feel like worth the video on, unfortunately.
I don't know, man, because
that's my opinion on it.
They can hide stuff from us, but they can't hide stuff from their investors. And if Nintendo doesn't put out something at a press release or doesn't send out a press release, an investor will inevitably leak that information because investors don't care the way that Nintendo cares about their information. I mean, but we'll see.
Yeah, you're right. We'll see.
It really just depends on what they have to show at this investors meeting. We don't know. But at the last investors meeting, I do want to keep in mind that they did announce Mario Kart Tour at that last investors meeting. Like a Mario Kart game is coming to mobile, and we found that out at the last investors meeting. It was pretty big news, in my opinion. That's a topic worth covering. Like if they have something mind-blowing like that available, then I would definitely put out at least an 8-bit news about it.
Yeah, I would say an 8-bit news because it's not one of those things where you can cover. We know nothing about Mario Kart Tour still, other than that it's happening, and so you can't cover news about. We know it's happening. That's all.
Yeah,
And so I'd say it's probably another thing that we get. This is happening. That's all you're getting.
exactly. All right, but I think that's it. So we might as well just go ahead and talk about our topic of the bye week, topic of the fortnight.
I'm super excited.
Oh man, me too. So, like I said in the introduction, in 2015, an announcement was made by Satoru Iwata that would allow Nintendo characters to appear at Universal Studios theme parks. There are at least at 3. So obviously it's going to be Universal Japan, Universal Orlando, and Universal Hollywood Studios. So we know that Japan is coming first. So they've already broken ground on that. They are building it. It will open before the 2020 Olympics if things go as planned. So that's the first thing we know. This is a prime time for them to do that when it does open. If they can open it up right before the Olympics, perfect time, because we all know what happens when a country hosts the Olympics. The travel to that region, it jumps exponentially.
Tourism skyrockets, yeah.
Exactly. Well, exactly. You have all the athletes from their respective countries going. Then you have all the tourists who are there to support those athletes from their respective countries and the media. Perfect timing to open this theme park because you know that the media is going to go there for the Olympics, but inevitably they're going to want to do a fluff piece. So they'll go to the theme park and they'll get some basic footage. They'll talk to, the whoever runs the park. They'll talk to some employees. They'll get
the guy who runs around the Mario costume around the park.
Exactly. They'll get some B-roll. We'll get to see the park, secondhand through the, media. They're going to do a fluff piece on it. This is a perfect time frame for them to open the park. If everything goes as planned, we all know that Japan has a couple of natural disasters to be aware of: tsunamis, floods, earthquakes. So if everything, goes as planned, they were going to open just before the Olympics. Perfect timing. We do know a couple of rides that are confirmed, and I use air quotes when I say confirmed. There's going to be a Yoshi Dark Ride. If you look at the promo art they released in December of 2016, that first picture we saw of the park, there is a tall mountain in the distance that has Yoshis scattered all around them. A lot of people have speculated this is where they'll put the Yoshi Dark Ride just because of the Yoshi aesthetics that we see in the background. We know that there's going to be a Donkey Kong minecart ride, one that is very, very unique. The way they're building the track is that there's technically 2 tracks. So there's a bottom track and a top track. The top track is literally just for show, and the bottom track is where the wheels of the cart are, and there's going to be this bar that attaches the actual cart that the people ride in to this bottom track. And what that's supposed to do, it's supposed to simulate jumping when the track breaks like they do in the games. That is an awesome concept.
Yeah, agreed.
Especially
for the minecarts. Yeah,
that is the
minecart levels make
ride.
Donkey Kong Country.
Exactly. Those are my favorite stages in all the Donkey Kong Country games.
They're everyone's, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they found a way to sort of replicate that in real world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is dope. That is just
100%.
Dope.
Yes.
That is the most exciting announcement for me as a Donkey Kong fan. But we all know that the biggest ride, the ride that everybody has the highest expectations for, is the Mario Kart ride. This is the only ride that has truly been confirmed. The other rides we've only seen concept art for, like blueprints and
ideas
and copyright filings.
Yeah, copyright.
We've seen copyright filings. We haven't been officially told these are confirmed rides. That's why I use air quotes when I say confirmed. But Mario Kart was confirmed by the president of the Universal Studios company, He said it's happening, and it will use immersive, augmented reality technology in order to simulate the Mario Kart experience. This is going to use top of the line technology in order to really immerse the player. This is an amazing concept. I don't know if you've seen the concept art for this, but there's a couple of screenshots for this game that are truly, truly mind-blowing. They show a father and a son in a cart, and to their left is like, Bowser, and he's got like red shells, and they're riding in an actual Mario Kart, and they're in like the Bowser Castle section of this kart ride. So another piece of concept art shows that this isn't just like one course. It's going to simulate 8 courses, and it even has a Rainbow Road section, which is really, really dope.
I know that there's going to be multiple like tracks shown. I think that's a great idea, but I almost kind of wish there were multiple Mario Kart rides per se. So like, I don't quite know how they do it. Like one that's more of a roller coaster, one that's maybe more kart racing itself. I don't know, where you just go-karts, literally just go-karts, like a go-kart track in Universal. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, so one that's a ride, one that's actual just racing. Maybe you could do like bumper cars, but balloon battles. I don't know. But I like to see multiple sort of Mario Kart rides around the park, but maybe also make it so that they're each different cups. So that one is like the flower cup, one is the mushroom cup. And so if you like went around the whole park, you could win all, quote unquote, win like the whole Mario Kart Grand Prix. I thought that could be kind of cool.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. I want everybody to just take a look at this concept art. Obviously, I'm going to edit this better when we do the final video version of this. But if you look at this concept art, it's actually pretty dope. Like, Bowser's holding a green shell. There's a King Boo in the background. The airship is above them. There are item boxes. And supposedly, one person focuses on driving, and the other person controls the items, which would make this a real-life version of Double Dash, so to speak, which even gets me more excited because Double Dash is my favorite game in the Mario Kart franchise. So I think all of this stuff right here is really exciting. Love this. Aside from that, they do showcase Wario in another picture. They're showing off so much stuff. If they get even half of this stuff on point, then this will be one of the best rides ever. Now, I think the major issue is that they're going to have to really make this ride something that's unforgettable. And I think that's the biggest and hardest thing to do, because Universal has spent a lot of time focusing on like simulator rides. Yeah. And this Mario Kart ride looks like it's going to be blending simulation with practical. So you're actually going to be in a cart that will be moving along a real track. I guess similar to like the Disney World, the Cars ride at Disney World.
I've not been to the Cars ride.
There's a Cars ride at Disneyland. It's kind of like you basically drive through Radiator Springs, like really, really accurate. You drive through all those locales, and you're doing it at a pretty decent speed. I think you're doing it like 40 to 50 miles an hour, which on a Disney ride, that's actually fairly fast.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot. I assume that the practical part of this ride will be very similar to that. And then the whole wearing the augmented reality glasses and, driving into item boxes and utilizing those will be interesting. And you're racing other people, other riders. That's what's cool. I don't know how they're going to make all this work, but you're racing other people on the ride. So I honestly think that this is going to be an awesome ride if they get all these factors correct. If they can really truly give us that Mario Kart experience, they're gonna have one of the greatest rides in theme park history.
And one other thing I want to talk about with this is that in the concept art that was shown, there's like an audience of real people. They're not toads; they're real people. So I almost wonder if there's going to be like some kind of spectator something or other around the park. Like you could watch live races.
It almost looks like they're standing in the queue. Like they're watching the race from the queue, which would mean that this would have a pretty long queue. If it's
Yeah.
if it's real, if this concept art is indicative of how the queue will be, you would actually be watching a race go past you. That's a really cool idea.
Mhm.
Like that's one of the things that Universal Studios does better than most theme parks is they build up their queue. So my favorite ride at Universal Studios, I have two favorite rides: The Simpsons and Spider-Man. Both of them are simulators. They're both simulators, but the queues for them are fantastic.
They are.
For the queue for The Simpsons is walking through Krusty Land.
Yeah.
And it's like you're in Krusty the Clown's theme park.
Yeah.
And they do it all perfectly.
They do.
But the queue for Spider-Man is you're walking through the Daily Bugle, which couldn't be any more iconic for that comic book setting. So those are two of my favorite rides, and they get the queues perfectly. I love what they do with the queues.
But so the last thing I want to talk about the spectators, though, is that in most rides, you have like at the end you can see your pictures being taken, and I kind of wonder how that could be, because we see that there's this spectator. There could be some advanced spectator stuff going on in some fashion, and how that will play into getting your picture taken or going home with a DVD of your race. I think could be really interesting how they play that up as well.
I never buy those, but if they have a DVD of my race and I win, I'm buying that
first. Yeah,
I'm buying that and I'm posting that to the channel. I'm buying it. I'm going to upload it to the channel. Be like, I just experienced this ride.
Well, I feel like you should upload that to the channel anyways, though, honestly. But hey,
better if I win, though. I'm going to keep doing it until I win.
I
would just keep buying video after video.
Yeah. I mean, especially since there's other tracks you can do, too.
Yeah. No, that's the beautiful thing. It's supposed to simulate 8 different courses.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for Rainbow Road.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't wait to experience Rainbow Road or Bowser's Castle. Oh my god.
They might be like original courses. It won't be like a Rainbow Road Super NES. It might be its own original Rainbow Road. It might be Bowser's Castle for not DS or not, Wii. It'd be its own Bowser's Castle, which could be cool in a way.
Exactly. All right. So to jump away from the Mario Kart ride hype,
yes.
I want to, for the sake of moving on to what else we know, we do know that the Florida version of the park has changed its initial location. So if to those who are familiar with Universal Studios Orlando, there is a children's section of the park, the Kiddie Zone or Kid Zone. Mm-hmm. That includes things like Dr. Seuss, Curious George, SpongeBob, E.T. It's a decent size. It's located pretty close to where The Simpsons is. Decent size. That being said, and that's where Super Nintendo World was originally going to be built. Plans may have changed. We don't 100% know this, but we do know that last year, Universal Studios acquired 500 additional acres adjoining the theme park. There was one little caveat that said that this land could not be used for a theme park. And there was some litigation involved because Universal really wanted to use that plot of land for a theme park because that's 500 acres. What else are you going to build on 500 acres?
Yeah.
So, the person who sold the land didn't want them to. Universal settled with them, and they actually acquired a little bit more land in order to do what they want to do. So they are now going to be building a 4th theme park. So for those who are unindoctrinated, they have Universal Studios Orlando, Islands of Adventure, which is their 2nd major park, which houses Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, Marvel, and some comic strip stuff like the Dudley Do-Right Ride, Rocky and Bullwinkle, like stuff that you would read in your local newspaper.
Think of it as a small island of archipelago of small islands, and each island is its own sort of world, which is as we said, Harry Potter, Marvel, and the comics, etc.
Now, Harry Potter has actually extended to the point
that's
where
pretty much a bigger main island in Islands of Adventure. Yeah,
it's not even just Islands of Adventure. It actually crosses into Universal Studios now.
Okay, huh?
It is so big now because they built all of Diagon Alley that you have to take the Hogwarts train from one park into the next park. I don't know Harry Potter. I've never watched the Harry Potter movie willingly, and I've never read a Harry Potter book. I'm just a little too old for that. But I know that you have to ride the train from one side of the park to the other side of the park. So you end up crossing into a whole separate park, which is really cool, which means the only way to get on that train, though, is to have a multi-park pass. Anyways, so we have Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios, and then they also have Blizzard Bay, which is a water park, which obviously Orlando, you need a water park.
Yeah.
It's hot in Florida all the time.
Yes.
It's hot when it's cold. So yeah, this new 500 acres plus whatever they bought, it looks like Super Nintendo World for Orlando will be instead removed from the Universal Studios side and put into this brand new it's an announced theme park, but we don't know what the theme of this theme park is. Obviously, with Universal Studios, it's about movies.
Yeah.
With Islands of Adventure, it's about literature.
Yeah.
So the themes that you see on Islands of Adventure is about like stuff that came from books.
Yes, Harry Potter comes from books, comics,
Park.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All those IP that we see in that section all come from literature.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, this third park won't just be Nintendo themed. It might be a video game park. They are also kind of courting Blizzard so that they could add World of Warcraft to this fourth park, which would ultimately make Universal Studios like entertainment haven, so to speak, where they cover films, books,
video games, and water.
Water, obviously. The water park just makes sense because
it does.
Because Florida.
Every major theme park has a water park too now. So
Disney has like 5 here in Orlando.
Yeah.
But still, like since they're not going to be using that original space, I hope what that means is that with 500 acres to work with, that Super Nintendo World Orlando is going to be much bigger than initially planned, because now they're not working within the confines of predetermined space. Now they have 500 acres to play with. They could literally take 125 acres of that and allot it just for Super Nintendo World. Start with what we get in Japan, the Mario stuff, which would include Donkey Kong. I'm going to clump Donkey Kong with the Mario. I know it's its own IP, but whatever. We're going to clump them together. Then you could expand to Legend of Zelda, and then whatever other IP you want from there. So there's one other piece of news that's tied to this potential change. Since Universal Studios may not be the location for Super Nintendo World, Universal Studios wants to use that land for something else. And according to an ABC News affiliate from Orlando, Pokemon will be what takes up that original plot of land. They would still close the Kid Zone down and replace it with a Pokemon section.
Yes.
Which is great. Well, that's a great idea, because if you can't utilize the Nintendo IP for another couple years, by the way, this same news report also claimed that Super Nintendo World would open in 2023 here in the US. We hadn't gotten a year as to when they would build Super Nintendo World in Orlando. They literally just said it would open after Universal's Japan. 2023 is a pretty solid date. 5 years. 5 years to build an entire theme park.
Yeah.
That's really good. First off, it takes 2 to 3 years to open up sections of existing theme parks.
Yeah.
Like the Harry Potter section, I remember when that was being built. It took them 3 years just to build that section. If they can open a whole theme park in 5 years, that's mind-blowing, because that's breaking the ground. That's coming up with concepts. That's building them, safety testing them, soft opening, launch. Yeah. That is a lot of work in 5 years. And it's going to be a lot of money, $547 million just for the Japanese section. Imagine what it's going to cost them to build an entire theme park, at least we're going to be talking about billion here, minimum.
Yeah, minimum for sure. And I almost want to talk about this land sort of area space that we're talking about. So like you said before, we start with just the traditional Mario and we expand later. I really do hope that we can use this additional land for further expansions later down the line. Like, as much as I kind of want to like not have it so that, oh, I just went here like this year and played around with the Mario Kart, and now like I have to come back next year to do Zelda, really. But like I think it's a great way to keep the theme park fresh is to get continuous expansions in. So, you know, 1 year it's just Mario, add another ride, another section to the world from another IP, maybe even like a new Nintendo IP that gets announced like in the coming like in 2 years. Nintendo announced their new IP. It's a hit and we get it in the Orlando theme park like within 3 years from then. I don't know. So I think that would be really cool to see expansions later down the line. It's really cool that they get to work with this free, wide open space for Nintendo now. But seeing how they get to use that in the future with future expansions would be great as well. I don't know.
See, I'm actually really excited about their new intended use for this land. If they really do get Pokemon, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah,
because they did say that this Pokemon section would open in 2020, which would put it in line with when Super Nintendo World Japan
is launching. Yeah.
So what's cool about that is that, hey, we know that we can't deliver on Super Nintendo World when we initially wanted to. But we can build something smaller scale that still takes into account the fact that you people are anticipating Nintendo properties. So the Pokemon is the perfect section. It's the perfect
compromise.
Compromise. There we go. I don't know why.
Perfect compromise. Yes.
Yes, it is the perfect compromise for people. They're like, you're still gonna get Nintendo IP here, and we still get to use this land that doesn't necessarily track too well. Like this section of the park, it's old. Like Dr. Seuss, Barney, Curious George. These are franchises that have lost their steam.
The only one I really miss is Dr. Seuss. I will miss Dr. Seuss, but other than that.
But even with Dr. Seuss, like they've been trying to like revitalize Dr. Seuss through film.
Yeah.
And it's been like miss after miss, and then there's that one like good movie, and then there's another miss.
I liked Horton Hears a Who, and I liked the Lorax. They weren't perfect, but I really did like them.
I liked the animation in the Lorax, but I didn't like the way they adapted the Lorax. I didn't feel like it was a good adaptation. Animation was great.
I liked the animation a lot. I feel like the adaptation was not accurate, but it wasn't bad. I think it had its own charm. I don't know.
I felt like Horton Hears a Who was much more on point.
It was more on point, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Steve Carell is kind of just funny.
Yeah.
In general, so he works. He worked in that capacity. But like the Dr. Seuss stuff, it's not trending well anymore. Like these are aging, franchises. Like, and
but it's so cool to see that in Universal. Is my point. I'll miss it. That's my only point.
But it's like using Pokemon to fill that space. I mean, Pokemon has proven itself to be like evergreen. You can sell Pokemon whenever, wherever, however. Doesn't matter what format Pokemon comes in, people crave it.
Yeah. And it's like when you think about it, Pokemon is probably just as old as Barney or Dr. Seuss, right? Like
I think Barney has 5 years on Pokemon, but not even it's not significantly older. It's just that people grow out of Barney.
Yeah.
There's the difference. There's the difference. All these other, IP for this kid zone is that people grow out of those things. You grow out of Curious George. You grow out of SpongeBob. You grow out of Dr. Seuss. Pokemon has bridged a generational gap.
You're right.
There's people who started playing Pokemon when I was a teenager. Pokemon came out. My first experience with Pokemon was as a teenager. Now I'm an adult, and I'm still playing Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a whole bunch of younger gamers who play Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pokemon bridges generational gaps.
Agreed.
It's evergreen. And while we may have thought that Dr. Seuss and Curious George and Barney may be evergreen, they're truly not, because the audience does grow up, and we've just like what's happening in the toy industry, where we're seeing children buy less and less toys. We're seeing that these beloved IP aren't as beloved to the younger generations. They don't have the same like rapport that we had with those IP. So with Pokemon on the hand, I have a 1-year-old niece.
Uh-huh.
Right? Since the day she was born, I have been throwing Mario stuff at her and Pikachu stuff at her since the day she was born. She sees me wearing a Mario shirt and she screams out Mario, or she sees a Pikachu shirt, she goes Pika. So she doesn't. She's never played these games. She's never played these games.
Mm-hmm.
But because of Nintendo's designs, someone as young as her
can relate and identify.
They can see these characters and identify them just as instantly as she can Elmo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can't do that with Dr. Seuss necessarily. You kind of can do that with Barney, but with Barney, you like I said, she's gonna grow out of these things.
Yeah.
But with Nintendo, she's actually gonna grow into these things.
Yeah.
She's gonna grow into Pokemon. She's gonna grow into Mario, and eventually maybe she'll grow out of them. But it will take a lot longer.
It'll take longer, as well as it'll always kind of linger, I feel like, with most people. Like we talked earlier about people buying these retro systems. It's because like they grew out of these Sega Genesis and Mega Drive and Super NES. They grew out of them once they played them when they were kids, but they come back to them after this long period. And the reason they're coming back is because they never really forgot. They loved those games, and they're coming back to them now because they still recognize, they still affiliate, they still what's the word you used it earlier?
Associate.
Not associate. Oh my god, build a rapport with, and have memories, etc. You didn't grow out of it. You just stopped playing it, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So using Pokemon, perfect bridge. The perfect bridge. It gets Nintendo into that park pretty much right away. Like, it's 2018 now. Mm-hmm. If the foundation's already built, they might not even have to alter some of these rides too much. You could keep the Pokemon section relatively kid-friendly. That's what the Kid Zone exists for, is for, smaller people, to enjoy, like, safer rides. Mm-hmm. I feel like you could get away with that with Pokemon. More so than you could with, like, the Mario Kart ride or the Donkey Kong, mine cart.
Or even with Marvel existing stuff in the park.
Exactly. You can use this as a bridge. Like, hey, we are going to build a Pokemon section here, but we're going to cater it to younger audiences. Mm-hmm. And if the adults enjoy it, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, agreed.
That's just icing. But you could literally use the Pokemon section, use Pokemon to, appease younger children who go to the theme park. May not necessarily have the association with the games yet, but they can still identify with them.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Like, Pikachu is universal. At this point, we have seen that Pikachu is universal, and there's just so much they could do with that. Like, Pikachu, like that Dumbo ride, basically, do like that, or build like a Pokemon Center as a shop where you can just
or a market,
casually have our first Pokemon Center since the one in New York closed down.
Yeah. There's also, you could do like, what? You could have like ice cream shops that serve Castelia cones or Pokeblocks. Like, to enjoy actual Pokemon cuisine could be cool. We see that stuff in the games from time to, like, Moo Moo Milk. I don't know.
It's perfect too, because Universal, when I first moved to Florida, I would say that they weren't so good at the whole immersion thing. Mm-hmm. They didn't really have a grasp on it. The best case of immersion was Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. But in the 14 years that I've been here, they have mastered it. They have mastered immersion. Like, Disney level mastery of immersion.
I'd say it's
because
surpassed Disney personally.
I am not a Harry Potter fan in the slightest, but I walk into Hogwarts and I'm
And it
like,
feels like it's
let's
Hogwarts.
go get some. I'm like, let's go get some butterbeer. I'm the first person to be like, can we go get some butterbeer? I don't even want to get on a ride first. I want to go into the restaurant. I want to buy some butterbeer, drink it up, then get on a ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get on those rides and I'm like, these rides are fantastic. Like their Harry Potter ride is one of the best blends of simulator and thrill ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it takes the best aspects of a simulator with a practical roller coaster, and they do it really well. The only thing that sucks about Harry Potter is that because it is technically still a simulator, if you get stuck on that ride,
oh yeah, you're stuck for a while.
Well, not just that, but it's extraordinarily disorienting.
Oh,
because when that ride crashes, you realize that you're looking at like a domed screen, and it jacks your it jacks with your senses, dude. Your senses, you stare at this like curvature of a screen, and like you start to see like the finer details like that are bent, like you see the trees in the distance, but your eyes know that it's wrong because the trees are arched. So it really messes with your senses. Like I've been stuck on that ride twice. And both times I learned that I need to close my eyes and wait for the ride to start up again because it is severely disorienting when that ride breaks down.
So I'm assuming that really hurts the immersion you feel too, right?
Oh yeah, but that being said, I've been on that ride like 40 times and it's only broken down twice.
Yeah. All right.
On me. Which, I mean, it's really cool too. What's really, really, really well done about that ride, though, one of the greatest things about that ride that I think is easy to overlook is that if the park is at like capacity, they can add more cars to the track. So each car in the Harry Potter ride holds about, I think, between 6 and 10 people. They can just start adding more cars to the track, and that really helps like speed that ride up. And I've been in that line when I was there when that section of the park first opened. I was there week 1. I was in line for 2 hours, and now I get in that ride. I'm never in that line more than half an hour. But yeah, and even that, dude, the immersion is so perfect. So the queue for that line is actually walking through the Hogwarts, what's it called, the Academy School?
Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry. So it's a school.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you walk through the school, and you walk through, I guess, all the iconic sections. You walk through the cafeteria. You walk through their like little museum. You see Dumbledore. He's like, welcome new students, and he's talking to you. They even have the talking hat. Yeah, they have all these things that really have you immersed. Like immersion is so good. So
the moving staircases.
Exactly. I can only imagine even the picture, the paintings
talk. Yeah, the paintings talk.
Paintings talk to you. Like it's amazing. So Universal Studios immersion is great. So they take that same skill set and move it into a Pokemon section. It's going to be fantastic. And even more so, when they finally do open Super Nintendo World, I can only anticipate the immersion being far greater because they're going to have a lot more space to work with than when they initially launched, Hogwarts.
Yeah.
The Wizarding World of Harry Potter. When they launched that space, they didn't have a whole lot of area to work with, but they worked it out. And then they've expanded upon it. This time, they're going to have a brand new plot of land.
Yeah.
So I think their immersion is going to be fantastic.
Going back to the Pokemon theme park, though, this isn't the world's first Pokemon theme park. I believe there might have been one, or if not two, or something. But there was definitely at some point a Pokemon theme park in Japan.
Yeah, there definitely was.
Yeah, and I know that for a while they also gave out a free exclusive game, and there might have been 2 of them. I'm forgetting, but I know that if memory serves correctly, one of them was a Pokemon fishing simulator.
So So it was called Poke Park. It was a traveling theme park, so very similar
Okay.
to like a fair. So
Got
they
it.
had a couple of things. They had a Pokemon dancing tour,
Mhm.
Lugia spinning cups, Muse capture, a battle coaster torn sky, Pokemon merry-go-round, Pokemon Starry Sky Trip, Pikachu Forest Team Aqua versus Team Magma, Pichu Bros Rascal Railway. They had a couple of different things. They even had a Safari Zone and a nightclub, a Pokemon nightclub.
Huh. But then
Uh,
there was a game that they like gave out to people who went there. You said it's called
Promotional,
Poke
yeah.
Park? Yeah. Promotional game.
It looks like they gave away a Game Boy Advance SP and a special version of the Nintendo DS, but I don't really see a game listed.
Poke Park theme. It's like a Magikarp or like Pokemon fishing game. I don't know. Fishing game. It's not Magikarp Jump on the iOS.
That's a horrible
Pokemon
game.
fishing game. And I can't. I'm really. I don't know, but they gave out promotional games, and I believe one of them was like a Pokemon fishing game or something. And I think it might be cool. It's kind of like unfortunate to those people who can't make it to the parks, but if they could give me a Pokemon fishing game for the Switch or by showing up, I would be down. I would definitely pick that up.
Exactly.
So having stuff like that being able to be done as promotions would be really nice, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm actually 2020, 2 years. It seems like a long wait, but man, like if this is real, I mean, we don't have like a solid confirmation. This is basically it's a credible news source. It's an ABC affiliate. It's a very credible news source. But we haven't heard word from Universal Studios itself. But
No.
I'm really hoping that this pans out. I hope this works because it's a really good idea. It's like I said, like we said earlier, I think it's the perfect compromise. Knowing that we're possibly going to have to wait till 2023, which is 5 years from now. That's a long time. That's like I said, it's in the scope of building a theme park. It's not. It's actually really fast to build a theme park in 5 years, but it's a long time if you're anticipating it, you know. And I don't know anybody who isn't actually anticipating this theme park's opening, so it's going to be eating away at a lot of people, knowing that 2023, and it's 2023 for Orlando, so we know the order of how they're going to build these parks is
Japan's first, Orlando,
and Hollywood.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're in Hollywood, you know, the California, you're on the West Coast.
You're going to be really biting your nails.
Yeah, you're gonna either have to bite the bullet and fly to Japan or fly to Florida. Like you're gonna have to bite the bullet.
Because if you're just not that patient, Yeah,
exactly. But I think we've talked enough about what we know is coming. I think that was a lot of fun to talk about what we know is coming. But I think it would be more fun if we talk about Super Nintendo World itself and what we want. So I think we should start first with some franchise representation. What franchises do you want to appear at the park? And now, there is a ground rule here. You cannot choose any franchise that we officially know will be represented. So that would be Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, The Legend of Zelda, and Pokemon. We cannot use those. So you have a bunch of other Nintendo IP to choose from. What franchise do you want to see at the theme park?
So I'm not sure which one to talk about first. Let's just say Metroid. I feel like seeing a space sci-fi section of this could be really interesting because it doesn't really meld well with the rest, I guess. You could easily meld the Mushroom Kingdom into Hyrule, but then going to SR388 isn't as easy. But I would like to see, even though it's not big, at least a ride for Metroid so that we see I'm not sure if this is the best example by far, but I don't really know what else would be better though. But a ride that's like the Buzz Lightyear ride in Disney Orlando, except it's Metroid, and you're like maybe Samus's gunship or something. I don't know. Potentially F-Zero could have something as well. We already do have Mario Kart, I know, and not many people know F-Zero, but I feel like maybe for what I was saying earlier about having different approaches to the racing simulator or ride, where one's actual physical go-karts, one's a roller coaster that's stylized, like you'd have little carts that are the Falcon and it's on a rail, like the Donkey Kong ride. I don't know.
See, personally, I kind of want to build off of your space exploration.
Okay.
But I want to go to a different place in Nintendo space, right? I want to go to the Lilat system. And let's go ahead Star Fox, exactly. Let's have a Star Fox. Some Star Fox representation. Actually, you could kind of like build a whole space theme around Lilat, on Star Fox and just have them like be their own little section of like spacefaring adventures.
Mm-hmm.
So on one side of it you have Metroid, on the other side you have Star Fox.
Okay.
But they all fit into the spacefaring theme.
Mm-hmm.
And for Star Fox, I would actually appreciate a straight up simulator ride.
Yeah,
I know
Universal
has a lot of simulators. I know they have a lot of simulators, but they've gotten really good at simulators. So far we have Spider-Man, which was their first like motion, simulator on a track. Then we got The Simpsons, which was a little bit more traditional but used a lot better animation. Yeah. Then Transformers, very much like a fusion of both. So it took like the animation tricks they learned in The Simpsons, and fused it with the motion, the actual track-based motion of Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But I think go back to a little bit more of a traditional simulator and do Star Fox. I think that is the best way to do it. Give people like their own like guns and have targets to shoot at. But I want this to be an awesome simulator where you can do a barrel roll.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's the best way to do it. Yeah. That's the way to do it.
If they could do Star Fox like that, that's a win. Like and I love a good old fashioned simulator ride, man. Sometimes there are some things that can only really be represented by a simulator, and I think Star Fox is one of those things that can truly only be represented by some type of flight simulator.
Yeah. Should I continue through my list of ideas, or do you want to go through?
Go ahead. We're gonna do 3 franchises that we want.
Oh, I have way more than 3. Oh no. So
for the sake of time, because we still got other topics.
Yeah. I'll just touch on these things. So we said not franchises we talked about, but I'm gonna say we haven't talked about this one. It's Donkey Kong, but not Donkey Kong Country, the original arcade machine Donkey Kong. I'd love to see some 8-bit retro style representation along in there. That could be really fun. There's been a lot of ways to sort of recreate Donkey Kong where you actually physically jump over barrels. And I think that might be interesting. There might be some safety stuff in with that. But you could do some interesting 8-bit stuff at the very least. And then Splatoon, some kind of paintball ride that could be messy, or like just a paintball shootout or something. It could be messy, but I feel like you give someone like a smock or a paint vest, which could be expensive. I don't know. But provide someone like an apron that they could get messy, and then they can take that home with them as their Splatoon souvenir. I don't know.
I'm going to continue off of that Splatoon because I also wanted Splatoon to have some representation. Mm-hmm. But I think with Splatoon, you go the non-conventional route. You do water ride, where people are expected to get messy. But it's not just regular water. You can't just get shot with regular water. I got to get hit with like some green, purple, and orange water.
Yeah, like some food coloring in there.
Exactly. Yeah. Throw whatever you got to do to make that water look colorful. Okay. And you make, I'm aware that I'm going to be wet. I want a Splatoon water ride. Exactly. Give me like a splatter shot. Hold on. Give me, if you guys are watching the video version, you give me a splatter shot and you let me, shoot.
I have mine somewhere. Hang on.
There are a couple of rides at Universal Studios that I actually like. So like the Dudley Do ride. It's a log ride, but while you're sitting in the log ride, people can put money into a machine and act actively squirt at the riders. They can shoot water at the riders. I think that would be a really awesome way to improvise, to do the queue. So like
true.
on the Splatoon ride could actually get shot by
Mhm.
people waiting in the queue by whatever. That would be a really cool way to do Splatoon, and it would be funny. You're just sitting on the ride, you're seeing you're hearing the Splatoon music, you're riding on a log or whatever they're gonna do, like a barge or something, and then out of nowhere, somebody standing in the queue just shoots you with some like ink water.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. I would love that to be incorporated into that.
Now, actually, here's a thought with that. So what if? So they have like two lines you go in, like each line like branches off into one, and they go into different carts, and then each cart sprays a different color of ink, and then you do an actual turf war. And so once the ride is finished, they announce the results of the turf war, and someone has won the turf war. I feel like
you have to have like a Judd animatronic that.
Yeah, a Judd animatronic. The weird thing is that like cleaning it up. But I think with water you could probably get away with it. I don't know. But yeah, seeing like actual results of the Splatfest as well as like the queue could once again participate. It wouldn't be fair or balanced, but it's a way to sort of once again, who cares if it's fair or balanced for an roller coaster? I don't know. But yeah, seeing an actual turf war happen and one set of riders wins would be really nice. I won't talk about ideas, but I do want Kirby represented, and that's all I'll say. All right.
I think that if you do Kirby could definitely really appeal for
kids
as a kiddie section.
Maybe into the Pokemon section.
Yeah, have it like bleed into it.
Yeah.
I think the only other franchise I want some kind of representation for, and I think this is the hardest one to pull off, but if they were to pull it off, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Punch-Out.
Oh, true. Or ARMS, even. Potentially ARMS.
ARMS or Punch-Out. You figure out a way to do that. I don't even have an idea of how you would do that. I have no idea how you would incorporate those specific games.
I think it'd be a simulator.
And I do. I kind of have one more. I have one more.
Okay. I do too.
Xenoblade.
Okay.
You could totally do Xenoblade 2.
You could. Yeah, you totally could.
Totally build a land where you walk across the body of a Titan.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Totally get away with that, and I would love to see that.
But okay, so my real, actual last representation, Smash Bros. Because it's already kind of there. You're already melding these worlds together. I mean, I'm not quite sure how they would do it, but I feel like maybe if it's only like a stage show they do like at noon every day, you could do Smash Bros. It's totally possible. Like almost imagine like giving Xander Mobus or one of the Smash announcers or something a job or like pre-recordings or something where he announces commentates the fights or something. That could be interesting.
Exactly. All right. So those are franchise representation things that we want. Moving on. A Nintendo mobile app integration with pre-existing apps. So the apps we currently have are Animal Crossing, Super Mario Run, Fire Emblem Heroes, and Miitomo is officially dead.
Yeah.
And obviously the My Nintendo app. I would like. Reggie Fils-Aimé said that they were thinking of ways to integrate their mobile apps into the theme park. I would really like to see how they work this out. I feel like attending the park should give you some exclusive in-game items.
I think that's how they're going to do it.
For Animal Crossing, that would be a really cool way to show, have like an exclusive shirt. Hey, that has like the Universal Studios logo with the Animal Crossing logo, mixed together. You could totally have like something there, something that rewards you for having attended the theme park.
I think that'll be the primary thing they do. Yeah. I don't think there'd be other than My Nintendo app, you could maybe do some stuff, but it's still be like discounts or like a little extra bonus stuff. I don't know, but
I think the app that could work the best for actual integration is Pokemon Go.
True. Yeah.
Pokemon Go, obviously, you would have Pokestops,
Mhm.
but it'd be really cool if you went to Universal Studios and you could always catch a Mewtwo or always
Oh, true.
catch a legendary of some sort,
Yeah.
having some kind of integration with the theme park with Pokemon Go. That's the app that could work the best because it's the
Agreed.
whole geocaching and whatnot.
Yeah,
It could
I
totally
do agree
work
with that. I mean, maybe with the Mario Kart ride, you could add some features into the future Mario Kart Tour app as well, depending on how that functions. You could maybe integrate that pretty well.
Exactly. All right. So here's something I think a lot of people have overlooked in their overall discussions of Super Nintendo World, but console representation. I 100% think that they should have a section of the park that is dedicated to their consoles. It doesn't have to be like their older consoles. It could be the consoles that they're currently promoting, i.e., the 3DS and the Nintendo Switch. Just have something there where people who want to appreciate the park but don't necessarily have these consoles, they can go and experience
They
these
can
consoles.
demo them, much like you would at Nintendo World Store in New York or something,
Exactly.
or Best Buy even. But yeah,
exactly. I feel like they should have console representation there and just use it as a way to showcase the great games that exist on the Switch now and upcoming Switch games. Aside from that, I think they should really utilize some space to build a museum of some sort.
yes.
Like, one of my favorite things about Disney is that if you go to Disneyland or Disney World, there are sections of the park that
They're
are
educational.
Exactly, but they're educational in the sense that they give you history on Disney.
On Disney, yeah.
So it would be really interesting to walk into like some kind of official Nintendo museum. They have all their consoles. They showcase like the evolution of Mario, evolution of Donkey Kong. They'd have all these things. They could totally do that, and that would be really highly appreciated by someone like me. We already kind of covered the rides, so we're gonna skip that one. But yeah, I would really appreciate them to appreciate if they had a museum that just really highlighted this. And you could do so much. You could do so much because Nintendo has amazing history behind it.
Yeah.
Like it really does. And it would be forgivable to utilize some space in a way like that. Like I know with Disney they do it a little too much. There are too many sections like that. But here they could get away with it if they do it like tastefully and it doesn't draw too much attention. Because one of the things, like going to a theme park, especially one as big as Universal Studios, that's an all-day affair, man. And sometimes you get tired of standing in queues. You get tired of walking around theme parks, and sometimes you get nauseous from getting on certain rides.
Yeah,
this would be a nice pit stop where you could take take a load off,
and hope there's air conditioning there too.
Exactly, and you could truly just like get an appreciation for the IP that exists at the theme park by learning a little bit about them. I think that would be a perfect way to really highlight Nintendo.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, and you kind of touched on the next one, but shows.
The store. So the shows.
Like stage shows.
Seeing a Smash Brothers live with Xander Mobus or someone commentating. Yeah.
Or like a turf war, like watching like a human turf war,
or spectating the Grand Prix in Mario Kart again.
So, in one of the promo pictures that was leaked, they actually did showcase a Legend of Zelda stage show. Totally behind that. I think that's another one that you could totally get away with doing a stage show. You could literally just sit there, watch an actor pull, the Master
Sword from the stone. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then take on like someone wearing an epic Ganondorf costume, and I hope they choose like a Ganondorf costume. That would be just a lot of fun. Obviously they'll probably highlight Breath of the Wild because of its immense popularity and whatnot, but
most likely, yeah.
Really, that like as the Legend of Zelda stage show would be fantastic. You could do like a Mario stage show. You could get away with a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So one of my favorite things. Go ahead.
I'm not actually sure if we're gonna cover. I haven't looked at the show notes. But so we talked in the other episodes about like the Splatoon concerts. And so as far as those goes, we could do the holograms again for stage shows. And you can do more than just the Squid Sisters and Off the Hook. You could do Pauline in New Donk City through holograms. You could do, I mean, I'm not sure what other characters really dance. You could do Kirby doing those little it wouldn't be much, but you could do like, you know, Kirby eating cake and DDD comes along and boom, 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 and it's a stage show with a story similar to The Legend of Zelda, I would assume. But I mean, I feel like costumes for Kirby might be a bit harder, and so a hologram might not be a bad idea. Because you don't necessarily need to use these kinds of holograms specifically for music and concerts either. Those could be the stage shows. And so at night you have Splatfest, Squid Sisters, and Off the Hook, and Pauline performing concerts. Throughout the day you have Link saving Hyrule, Kirby fighting DDD, etc.
Dude, I honestly can't believe I didn't think about concerts like with these characters. You could totally have a fixed place for the Squid Sisters and Off the Hook. That's the thing, is that those traveling concerts, you know, they've been to Paris, they've been to Holland, they've been to Japan twice. To have a permanent place where they're always gonna do like a concert, that is dope. You know how many times I would sit there and watch it?
Well, I think what would be ideal, because like you can only have Marina and Pearl sing the same songs over and over again before I feel like it gets tired. I feel like if you use, as well as it doesn't warrant the expense of the technology too, because it's expensive technology, you use the technology in one setup for many different concerts. I feel like they should always be scheduled the same way throughout the day, whereas you get Marina and Pearl and Off the Hook and Squid Sisters at night for like an actual night concert performance. But once again,
you save Pauline for night.
Pauline,
I love the Squid Sisters, but you say
for the Squid Sisters.
No, I feel like Pauline closes out the show.
She closes, probably, yeah.
With
fireworks,
your fireworks, jump up superstar. Okay. That's how you close the night off.
No,
that would be the best way to end an awesome day at the theme park. Is to go watch Pauline sing "Jump Up Superstar."
Okay.
And see the fireworks, and hell, depending on how they do it, if they really, really want to make the stage show great, they have like these giant monitors behind, the stage that show that section of the game while she sings. Like, this would be so perfect. Honestly, that's my favorite part of Super Mario Odyssey. My favorite part of that whole game is that celebration, because two reasons. One is visually, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. But the other major reason is because that section of the game pays tribute
to
the 30 plus years that I have been playing Mario. Since I first played the original Donkey Kong game in arcades when I was a little, tiny jitterbug. To like from that was like the culmination. That's like watching Iron Man 1 and building up to Avengers Infinity War. That's the Nintendo equivalent of that. But with Nintendo, they did it over the course of like 32, 33 years, and they're like, we're going to give you this moment. That's why I love that game, that section of the game. If you have a stage actress, you have an actress on a stage singing Jump Up Superstar, you have the celebration going on in the background, but you also you utilize real practical fireworks at the same time. That's mind blowing. That's the way I want to end my day at Universal Studios. I love that. I can't believe I didn't think about the Squid Sisters in that. It's just, I don't know how that escaped me. But
now,
that would be the perfect cap.
After Jump Up Superstar, what if like Mario, Luigi, Link, Zelda, Kirby, Samus all come on stage together and take a bow?
Love it.
Yeah.
You just got to have it all.
Yeah, you do.
And of course, obviously, the Squid Sisters hologram stuff, that would be really, really dope. And hell, even if they don't have a Splatoon section, if you just dedicated like a stage show to the to the Splatoon stuff,
Yeah.
like with the concerts, that's
Yeah.
representation, man.
It
It
is.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't really matter how the representation
Mhm.
happens, but if it does, as long as it happens, Nintendo
Yeah.
has a lot of IP to play with. They have a lot of IP to show some kind of representation for, and
Agreed, yeah.
I think that's one of the best ways to do it for Splatoon, because Splatoon is one of those things that's really, it would be really hard to build an experience around, other than what, like I said earlier, like making it some kind of water-based ride.
Water ride, yeah.
So I think the best way to just get past all that is to legit just do the stage shows, just have them be permanent fixtures at the theme park. I mean, I know, like, obviously the cost of purchasing and maintaining that technology, it's expensive, but I think in the long run, it makes the park better to have that stuff there. It really makes the park better.
Yeah. And once again, if you do use multiple characters such as Kirby and DDD and whatnot, it does help warrant more of the technology's purchase. Instead of just for Squid Sisters, you're using it for more things, which makes it more worth the price that you're paying for that technology again.
So I want to combine these next two topics. I feel like they go hand in hand. So restaurants and stores and merchandise. So one of the things that really appeals to me about a Nintendo theme park is merchandising. So you've been to Universal Studios.
Not recently-ish,
but you've been to the Islands of Adventure and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that when you walk into the Marvel section, they have a couple of stores in that park that sell exclusive merchandise for the brand that they're representing.
Yeah.
So there's a comic book store that sells comic books and whatnot, but it also has various other Marvel things, like high-end Marvel things, like statues that are exclusive to the theme park, and made by like Sideshow Collectibles, which I mean, they are pretty much top of the line statues, but these are limited run exclusive for the theme parks. And as far as the Spider-Man store, that store has exclusive Spider-Man merchandise that you can't get anywhere except for those theme parks. My favorite being clothing. That's both branded with Universal Studios, Marvel logos, and the Spider-Man image. And that's one of the things that I really look forward to as far as Super Nintendo World is concerned.
I agree.
Exclusive merchandise. For so long, Japan has had a leg up on merchandising. They have always had better merchandise that is exclusive to Japan, and the only way we can get it here is via importing. And while it's gotten a lot easier to import something, it has also got more expensive.
Yeah.
So I know theme parks aren't typically places that you would consider cheap. Like, you're going to buy these things at the theme park, and they're going to cost a lot. But when you do buy a shirt from a theme park, they're actually really high quality. They don't make the shirts cheap. Like, you're kind of getting like what you pay for. You're getting like a lot. And of course, they have all this other exclusive stuff: coffee mugs, hoodies, toys, all this other cool stuff. There is so much merch that they could have at Universal Studios that I would want. Obviously, I would buy whatever exclusive coffee mug they have because I need me my coffee in the morning. I need my coffee, and I like to drink out of funny coffee mugs. I actually have a Spider-Man cup from a Disney World that that's pretty dope. It's his head, but it doesn't have the top of his head. It's actually pretty funny.
That's pretty cool.
I have my Pokeball coffee mugs that were a gift from our after party. Those are my favorite because they're so big. Lots of coffee can fit in those. I'd buy a coffee mug first and foremost. Definitely buying whatever exclusive coffee mugs they have there.
All right.
I'm definitely going to be spending boatloads of money on shirts because you guys know that I am the king of Nintendo swag. I have so much Nintendo swag. Just I gotta rock the clothes, man. Having exclusive T-shirts, hoodies. I'm about that life. I'm all over that. I don't care how much it costs. I'm buying whatever they make.
I've had the Donkey Kong Vans for a while, but I finally got the Legend of Zelda slip-ons recently for the Nintendo Vans, and those are what I've been hunting for a while. So I'm happy I have those now.
I've got the Mario and Luigi from Vans, the high tops, and I've also got the super not the NES controllers.
Yeah, the NES controllers are the third one I want.
Yeah, I love those high tops. Obviously, you guys know that I went on a shopping spree when Forever 21.
Yeah, Forever 21's,
announced their collaboration with Nintendo. And heck, man, I do not shop at Forever 21.
Me neither. No.
That's not typically a store that a man would shop at.
They have a men's section, though.
They do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they the men that shop there, I think would call themselves metrosexual. I'm definitely not a metrosexual male. I'm pretty, but I'm not metrosexual.
I don't know. I don't shop there, but
it's not really my style.
The clothes are nice. They're expensive though. Is the big thing for me.
My problem with Forever 21's, it's expensive but cheaply made.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So the Super Nintendo stuff I bought, I wear it very sparingly. Because
it'll get ruined quickly.
Exactly. So, don't necessarily, wear it. Don't necessarily wash it for a while. Make sure I at least get 2 wears out of that shirt before. Try not to sweat.
Yeah.
Do whatever I can to, like, maximize use of that. Not like the Vans. The Vans stuff, I mean, and they had a lot. They had hats, they had shirts, they had shoes, they had backpacks. Vans was really high-quality stuff.
Yeah. Agreed.
But,
we're getting off topic here.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. But the merch that they would have that's exclusive to the theme parks, they could do so much. Obviously, they would do toys because they always do toys. Statues, because Universal got the hookup. Amiibo,
exclusive Amiibo? Maybe.
Honestly, if Amiibo launch, if they're selling Amiibo, whenever a new Amiibo comes out, let me rephrase that. Whenever a new Amiibo comes out, that would be the place that I would want to wait for. I would camp out to get an Amiibo at the theme park. That's where I want to do my camping out for an Amiibo.
All right.
It would be cool to have an exclusive Amiibo, or now I'm going to get off the rails here, but a place where you can have a custom Amiibo built based on your me.
Let's not get too crazy here.
I'm just saying,
but also
this could work with app integration. You could use app integration
like Mutomo.
Exactly. Well, or just a specific app for the park where you build your me, and then they put it in like a 3D printer of some sort, and they build your me, and you can use your me and put it in Smash Brothers.
Okay, that'd be really cool. And you seem like you could do like a day planner like app. A lot of theme parks have that stuff. Like you have the map, you put your me at that place on the map. You could create your me to interact with the map and stuff too, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know.
There could be a lot of cool merchandise there. As far as specific stores,
I was gonna say stores are what I'm more excited for than the merch. Checking out our actual Pokemon Center or like Hyrule Market or whatever. I don't know.
A Toad House.
Toad House, yeah.
You build a Toad House where you get that would be the best.
What if there was actual roulettes in the Toad House where you could actually win free merch?
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's as far as the theming of the stores are concerned, there's a lot of different things to choose from. But we know Pokemon will have its own little subsection.
Yeah.
We damn well better get a Pokemon Center. Damn well. And I want it to be as good as the Pokemon Centers in Japan. It has to not as good, better. Better. Because we're paying a lot more to go into a theme park than we are to just get into a Pokemon Center if we're in Japan. You just walk into a Pokemon Center. But if you have again, and then from there I expect exclusive Pokemon merchandise. And there's a lot of cool Pokemon merchandise that is exclusive to Japan right now that would be really awesome to buy at an American Pokemon Center.
Now, once again, Pokemon Center, but also maybe a Nintendo World store, like New York and like at their headquarters in Washington, North American headquarters, I should say. Another one in
part of the rebranding. I think that was part of the rebranding of the Nintendo World Store into Nintendo New York, was so that when they opened the theme park, they could actually brand it as a Nintendo
Orlando
or Nintendo, Florida.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Or Nintendo FL because it's called Nintendo NY. So I would expect them to build, a theme store like that.
Yeah. But that would be the place where you can buy a Switch or 3DS or Amiibo or games. That would be the shop to do it in. Because the Pokemon shop, you buy your Pokemon plushies and stuff. The Mario shop, you buy your Mario mugs and your T-shirts. But the Nintendo World Store is where you buy the consoles and your Amiibo.
And everything else.
And maybe a bit of demoing as well.
Exactly. You build it in a way that it incorporates every franchise.
Yeah. Like almost like Nintendo NY does. Yeah.
Exactly. So as far as restaurants are concerned, I think I have a couple of different ideas for restaurants. First off, I want a food truck with Krusty Sean.
Yeah.
I want a Krusty Sean food truck that has like exclusive slushes and like deep fried like
schwaffle
or something.
Did I tell you I made my own deep fried schwaffle? I didn't, did I? I did, and it was really good. So I might have to show you my recipe.
I'll try.
Yeah.
But I want the food truck, and I want a Breath of the Wild themed restaurant where like you have like food that's like this that looks like it does in the picture, and this could be more of a casual dining restaurant because Universal Studios
food.
Yeah, they do have like casual dinings.
Oh, that'd be
so I would
good.
like to see like a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild themed casual dining restaurant. I think that would be the best. That would be the best way to do that, and just get some real good food there.
I would like to see like a New Donk City sort of area with like a little cafe. A New Donk cafe would be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, New Donk Cafe. I think Kirby needs to have a restaurant representation for sure. Like maybe a bakery or something. I don't know what you could really do with Kirby, but Kirby's got to have restaurant representation for sure.
Exactly.
Definitely. I don't know what else we would really do for. I mean, maybe a Toad restaurant, but I don't know what else you'd really do.
Yoshi restaurant. I mean, Yoshi's always eating something.
Yoshi eggs. Ooh, yeah. I mean, what about like a cheap seafood place?
Maybe. I mean,
cheap Magikarp, Hyrule Bass, like just Nintendo Sea life, all collectively. So you have Magikarp, Cheap Sheeps, Hyrule Bass. I don't know, like all the aquatic Nintendo creatures under one umbrella could be cool. But you can eat them. You get to eat them.
All right.
Sean himself.
I don't want to eat Krusty Sean.
Okay, what about bloopers?
Who will I buy my shoes from in Splatoon 1?
Yeah, why did they change that?
I don't know. Well, I guess they said because he's in a different area of Inkopolis, he's running a separate business altogether.
Okay.
Plus, I think they want to get the spider crab in there somehow.
I don't like the spider crab. I don't know. I wish they just kept Sean.
He's a little too grunge for me.
Yeah, and I miss Annie the urchin. I don't like the new girl. You don't miss her?
I don't. I hated her in the first game. She was rude.
Well, the clownfish was rude, but he grew on me.
Anyhow,
but I didn't like the clownfish at first.
So let's move on to a topic that we think is a little bit of awesomeness. So I'm going to pose this as a question: should Nintendo use Super Nintendo World as a place to hold esport tournaments for their competitive franchises, i.e. ARMS, Splatoon, Super Smash Brothers, Pokken Tournament, whatever other games they have in the pipeline that might be competitive? And should they use it as a place, and should they broadcast from here? I, for one, would love this.
I would too. I think it's definitely also a big step up from their current way of doing tournaments for the most part, at least. Where they do some decent invitational stuff, but for the most part, like ARMS Invitational, you just played randomly on ranked mode, and while that's fine, and obviously top players got in, I don't necessarily agree with those kinds of formats. I like invitationals, but I don't necessarily like. I play rank mode to qualify. I like to be able to qualify somehow. I don't know, but there needs to be a more formal way to do these things. I would like
the way I kind of envision them being able to pull this off is to have series. So
yeah, I was going to say that.
From January to March, that is your ARMS tournament series.
Yeah.
From April through I guess June, that could be your Smash series. From July through I guess from July through September, you would do Splatoon.
Yeah.
And then from October through December, that's your Pokken series.
Yeah.
You could legit have an entire year's worth of tournament series for specific games.
Yeah.
And people who attend the park could go. People who want to compete would go to the park and compete from there. And obviously, that's going to open up a lot more when Hollywood opens up as well.
And there's 2 sort of venues.
Exactly. And then obviously for the Japanese competitors, they would have their own venue as well. Yes. And then for something huge like E3, you take the top placing competitors from the tournament series and then you bring them over to E3, and that is a more fair way to do these sort of invitationals.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see that happen. And I would love for them to broadcast the tournament series from these parks. Not only is that just good, for like viewership, but it's also really good for how do I say this? It's a good way to promote the parks. Yeah. They could live from Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Florida. We have the ARMS tournament series. You could do it like that, and dude, people would watch that. I mean, look at how many viewers their E3 invitational shows get. Yeah. Like there's so many people watching them at the same time. Like you have over a million views on like the Smash tournaments and the ARMS tournaments and the Splatoon tournaments and the Pokken tournaments. They have all these people who sit there from their computers or their whatever device they watch YouTube on, and they're glued to these tournaments. They're watching them vehemently, and you could legit really, really highlight your franchises this way. And you also promote the fact that they're at the theme park, and people will want to go to the theme park even more.
Yeah. And I had a train of thought. I kind of lost it, but I'm going to try and recover it here. You don't even really need to do tournaments at E3 anymore. Also, you could potentially just host the venues at the theme parks again. If we do want to keep it close to California area for E3 once again, you go to the Hollywood location. But I think it'd also be cool that, you won't really get the ability to do this for a lot of the time currently, I guess. But, next E3 Invitational, whatever, could be hosted 2020 in the Japan studio. You fly them all out to Japan, and they go to Universal Japan to compete there. I don't know. But that's another way to sort of do it, whereas we have to wait till 2023 for the Orlando park to get esports. We could just fly the Invitational, if we keep the same system, Invitational people out to Japan for the Japan tournaments, etc.
Yeah.
Nintendo World Championships could become a much bigger thing as well if they do this at the theme parks, I believe.
Yeah, there's just a lot of potential to really highlight their competitive games by utilizing these theme parks. They could just, at the end of the day, Universal Studios does actually function as a film studio still. They still have studio lots at the theme park. They still have sets, and you could really, really, really do a lot with that space. You could really showcase these things off and just get an extra promotional boost by doing things. You promote the park and you promote your games at the same time. It's like a double win. Anyway, that's it. We ran through all the topics. And this is one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done on this show.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun speculating and talking about how they could make the roller coasters and what sort of food they would serve at the restaurants, and that's always really awesome. I love
and then we just got to talk about stuff that we know is coming as well. So
the Dark Yoshi and the Mario Kart.
And the Donkey Kong and all that stuff just got me super hyped. Like I told Mario After Party this when they first made an announcement back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be the first podcast to do a broadcast from the theme park.
That would be awesome.
You know, just sit there, break out my phone, and just do like a live stream podcast of what I'm experiencing.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I want to do that so bad. I just want to broadcast from that theme park because it's so, it would be so glorious. Like, this is what I've been waiting for since I was a child. Like, I've always been a huge Disney fan.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, going to, you know, Disney World or Disneyland has always been something of, like, a transformative experience, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I go to these parks and I'm a little kid again.
Yeah.
But as a fan of those things, I think that Disney has always gotten it right. But I love Nintendo more than I love Disney. I always have. I can only imagine what it's going to be like to be at the theme park. I feel like when I get there, I am going to cry happy man tears. Like, of just pure joy. Like, because this is what, like, I've been waiting for, you know, since the day I picked up a controller. That's my, like, come to Jesus moment, and it's a good one.
Mm-hmm. In the Nintendo Power magazine, there was one issue, and it was like, I forget what the section was called, but they had like just where the viewers and readers like sent in their letters and they commented back on them. And there's always like, don't hassle the Hoff. There was one that always sort of resonated with me, where this wife talked about how she made her husband a Mario costume, and they went to Disney World, and he wore the Mario costume for like all 3 days that they were there. And he got way more attention than any of the other characters that are supposed to be at Disney World. And then they talked about how, you know, a Nintendo theme park would be really cool. And they're 100% right. And now we're seeing that. And it's amazing for the same reasons you've just said before. You know, Disney theme parks get it right. They are transformative experiences. And the characters resonate so well and are so iconic, identifiable, and fun. The IPs are fun. The worlds are fun. The games are fun. And that's where I think this will really be a huge success.
Exactly. I couldn't put it better myself. So with that being said, let's hit them up with the social media links.
All right.
You guys know that you can hit me up on Twitter at nice1983 or at PowerZone. You can email me at nice1983@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Nintendo PowerZone. If you're a fan of this podcast, you can always download new episodes on iTunes, Google Play Music, stream new episodes on Stitcher Radio. But if you want to catch us live, you can find us right here on YouTube, youtube.com/Nintendo PowerZone.
All right, and I am The King Blues on Twitter, at The King Blues, blues spelled BLOOZ as always. Same thing for my YouTube page. YouTube is The King Blues as well as Twitch. I'm not using Twitch too much. We're gonna get that up and running soon, hopefully. I keep saying, but yeah.
All right. Well, guys, you already know all those different ways to hit us up. So please like, comment, and subscribe as well. And as always, stay fresh.